Hello and welcome to So Farscape,
a fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan
and a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Conky.
I'm Kay, and this is the story So Farscape.
Whoa, we timed it perfectly.
We did. We usually do.
There's usually a bit of variability, but I think we absolutely nailed the ending this time.
And then we ruined it by talking over it.
Hey!
So yes, welcome for episode 405, Promises.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's the entirety of
I've been writing my pen dry for every time getting the titles of these shows written down on the top of my note sheet every week, and but no, it's just Promises.
Yes, I'd so been looking forward to telling you about that because we usually sit down and what's this one called? And I said this one's called Promises.
Yeah,
and then nothing followed.
Well, it would have been an entirely different title if it's called Promises.
Ooh, yes, good point.
Which would not have been out of place either, but
the word did come up a fair few times, didn't it?
Good point. Yeah, so a lot of promises were being demanded from people.
Promise me something. You promise me.
Promise you what?
You promise me.
I don't care about your promises.
I made a promise.
Honor that promise.
You have to promise.
A promise.
Promise.
If it delivers on its promise, Panara, you've got a medal.
Hey, let me tell you some stuff about this episode that we don't usually do.
Go for it.
Okay, this was written by Ricky Manning. Wow. I have his full name down here as Richard Manning. No. Mm-hmm. Ricky Manning, a.k.a. Frunium. And it was directed by Jeff Bennett, which is a name we haven't heard before. He's a first-timer. He's a prolific Australian director on Home and Away, Water Rats, which...
Again,
at one point featured Gigi Edgley, but I'm not sure whether that was during his tenure.
Okay.
And apparently, Andrew Prowse, a director and show producer, had been trying to get him to do an episode of Farscape for ages because he thought he'd love it. And apparently, he took to it like a duck to water.
Okay. So he did like it. So the way you were building that sentence said I was expecting him to go and he absolutely hated every minute of it.
It was quite the opposite, as we can see here. And it was entirely mutual. David Kemper was talking about it. Imagine coming in season 4 of an established show that has reached heights of popularity in America, and then coming in as a newbie and just fitting right in, and in fact having to be reeled back a little.
No, you don't get to play with that plot line.
Not quite that dark, please. Let's just ease it off. Yeah, but he had a lot of fun, as did the production designer Tim Ferrier. He mentioned that this was just nice after doing a Lava Planet. Mm-hmm. Doing a sort of holographic squid environment was nice.
Oh, it was a squid?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, wow, we're really jumping ahead. Pardon me. The sort of design of the Lucithian, the aliens. David Kemper apparently kicked in the door to the creature shop, Reservoir Dog style, and yelled, "Give us something new, you can do anything." And Dave Ilsley said, "All right." And
heck, what key do you want it in?
Yeah. And they took this perfectly fine actor and they just shoved the biggest teeth into his mouth that would fit to push his lips out so he couldn't talk, and then cover everything else in his face and put these eye stalks out and an animatronic helmet.
Yeah, so I love how they used the little grating, which you think it's is that his nose? It's like nose filters, but then you realize it's probably just what he actually looks out through.
Yes, exactly.
I'm sure it's got these eyes out on the sides, which is obviously not the actor's eyes.
Yeah. I'm sure that the actor who played Bakesh and later also the Tarkan, remember how he was blind in both cases?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Sort of watched this on telly and
I was like, well, that's bollocks.
I can never have nice things. Oh, sorry about this. I was diving way too much into podcasting. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Why?
I don't know. I feel like maybe we should have a human interest segment on the podcast now that we're in our season 4. You doing
a human interest segment?
Yeah.
What have I been doing with my weekend?
hey, how's it go? Do you know how people on YouTube are super casual? Hey guys, what's up?
Hello, internet people. Yeah.
Yes, how do you do, fellow kids?
But no, let's talk about what our listeners have to say about this episode.
Yes.
We have some cracking synopses, I see. Well, don't know if they're cracking it because I haven't read them yet, unlike you. Do you read them before?
I read every one.
Okay, yeah.
Just in case there's like spoilers in
Right,
there
yeah,
or anything inappropriate, but no, everyone's always great.
So yes, the synopsis we've gotten from our listeners go. Our favourite science jock is upset when his best girl turns up wearing someone else's letterman jacket. But don't worry, it's for medical reasons. The crew promise not to hurt the Quack providing the treatment, but even Harvey doesn't trust him.
Oh, Harvey.
Is it like... Hang on, is this still going? Okay,
yes,
this is
it's
just
the same
one
one.
very...
Yes.
No, I'm just checking that I'm not accidentally reading multiple ones.
I think this one was sent in before I made my admonition that it should fit in less than a tweet.
It quickly becomes clear only Captain Ratface on the SS Space Jellyfish has the cure, and he has not so simple proposition for the queue. Green Shirt finally gets rid of Jiminey Cricket and makes a deal with the devil to save their leather-clad backsides. Thank you, Marky See.
Oh, Rick from the Delta Quadrants back again with a limerick. Can you imagine what this guy must be like at parties?
Yeah, fantastic.
This person, pardon me. We're reunited with old friends. New flatmate starts a fashion trend. The antidote, a decoy boat. An oath of silence till the end. Oh, thank
that's
you,
gorgeous.
Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And someone else rocks the Scorpy makeup after getting a cold, dancing barefoot in the rain. Thank you, Lucy.
There must be something to that I'm not getting. Dancing barefoot in the rain, is that
Get you a cold, dancing barefoot in the rain.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, but...
So how'd you catch this cold? Dancing. Barefoot in the rain.
I mean, was there barefoot rain dancing?
No, I guess it must be a reference to something that cool people do. Lucy's one of those cool people that you hear about.
Well, yes.
Rain. Is that what you call this? I like it.
So
hey,
yes,
you are. Hey, Kay, I think you're pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think you're pretty cool too. So
thank you. This has been our human interest segment.
Thank you. Now back to our regular scheduled programming.
Prepare for starburst.
I love that we have these buttons. I love them so much. Okay.
So we get a pretty lengthy previously on...
Well, we did. Because accidentally turned out that one of my files was mislabeled, and we watched the opening to Lava's a Many Splendid Thing first.
Right, but even then, during the proper previously on Farscape, you accidentally thought we were on the wrong episode again.
Yes,
because it was such a long introduction.
Yeah, you get such a long recap of what was lost, which for Lava's a Many Splendid Thing wasn't necessary.
No, because it didn't. Yeah, it was a bottle episode or Planet of the Week episode, I suppose, and there was not much in the way of major plot development going on.
Right, Scorpius, Grazer, none of them really played a role.
So we do start off with the end of the previous episode where they got a transmission from Moya. Finally, they've beamed their coordinates over and now they're going to meet up with Moya. And we get this lovely shot of Moya drifting in some sort of nebula where you can see some clouds parting.
She's gorgeous.
Which is literally what Dargo says.
Pilot, Moya looks beautiful.
Yes, and then Pilot says, "Oh, yeah," she says, "Thank you."
Well, thank you, yes.
Hey, and Pilot looks gorgeous too.
He does. You told me that he got a new model again?
He got an entirely new puppet, an entirely new skin. Like you can see, I noticed it, a lot finer detail on his ridges. He looks...
And I did notice that his claw was quite mobile and quite movable. It was less of a crab claw, and it was more like a fluid movement.
Oh, very good.
So when Chiana is up in the den with Pilot.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I learned this about the way that Farscape is produced. Characters sometimes come back, and alien designs and puppets sort of come back, and you think, oh, well, that's a great way to reuse it. But when it comes to these animatronics, they don't go on a shelf. Right? No. After an episode, they're ripped apart because they want those servos back to use them in something else.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And so even leftover, but if they've got animatronic armatures, they don't stick around. No. So the previous... it's very well possible, actually, now I'm thinking it, that servos and mechanisms from the previous pilot model were used in Oolom's face.
Yeah.
But
well, hang on, the previous pilot, Oolom, that's the pilot of the Leviathan that...
sorry, Oolom is the villain in this episode.
Oh, right, him.
So, yes, you're right. The original pilot armature was used for pilot of Elac.
Yes, and I guess in the meantime they were building a new pilot.
Yep. So the old one must have been disassembled. They're not... I know, it's heartbreaking to think for us now, but they're not very sentimental. Like they're tools, and you want to use them.
And the material isn't going to last anyway. It's like all the latex and all the other stuff that
true.
they have. It tends to fall apart after a while. I think I seem to recall something about like an original Yoda puppet being found or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like, it was in absolutely terrible condition. It was just like basically rotting away.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's like that's how it goes. It's like these things are disposable, I suppose.
Yeah. And the real art, of course, is the design. It's like the molds and the casts and the design, because they can be recreated.
So there's something interesting, which is like kind of ignored the entire episode. Like it starts off with Pilot like being questioned about like, okay, what happened when you got sucked in through the wormhole?
Moya was sucked down a wormhole and spat out again. What happened in the middle?
My memory is unclear. We were not harmed, merely examined.
And like, yes, we were examined.
Oh, yeah. And we stopped off at the nest.
What did you say?
Yes.
Never mentioned before.
No, that was, I mean, there's like, I guess there's...
Where the prang have you been?
We stopped at our nest, then searched for you at the burial grounds.
Back it up a sec.
I mean, they have a graveyard, so I guess maybe there's a nest that, like...
I love
Leviathans tend to get born in, something like that. That sounds... But, yeah, Pilot being very evasive and, like, I can't remember what the questions that John asked him, but Pilot goes like, no.
I couldn't say.
You truly remember nothing more?
Nothing of importance. We await your arrival.
Doesn't say, I don't know. It's just like, I couldn't say. So he's clearly like...
Well, that's that topic done with, isn't it?
Well, I'm sure that'll never come back.
Exactly. Like, it's been this many episodes that we've been sort of dangled, oh, finally, Jewel can explain it. Oh, no, talk to the old woman. Oh, the old woman can explain it. No, she's not doing it. She's not.
Nope.
And we're not really pushing her either. And now Pilot, so now that everybody's ignored it, we can just drop it, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I did notice that my theory got shot down that it was the, the Travelers. Because I think...
Ah, yeah, you're right. Because that was a question John asked.
We were not harmed, merely examined.
By who? Nialis Pathfinder buddies?
Pathfinders, yeah, not the Travelers. That's it, what they were called, yeah.
And Pilot sort of demurred on that. Like,
it could have been, but it's like, maybe not, maybe yeah. It's like...
So that's pretty definitely like over and done with and never coming back, yeah?
Absolutely.
Just like Aeryn's backstory, like we've processed that, and that's just never going to come up again.
Which backstory?
Oh, what she's been doing on her summer holidays.
Oh, yes, well, assassinations apparently, but...
Yeah, we've dealt with that, and that's the last we're ever going to hear of that.
So yes, big surprise when John comes aboard, he sees, well, Aeryn. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Well, there's a familiar face.
And she does not look well. I mean, okay, so we can go like... Sorry, that didn't come out right.
Yeah, I know, because she looks amazing.
I don't like her look. I don't like the long straight hair, the loose straight hair.
I have had years to come around to it. Because I understand what you mean. Because now we're missing her ears and her neck.
Yes.
Right? And it's almost like she's wearing a cowl. I get you. Her whole silhouette's changed.
And she's wearing a weird suit.
Yeah. Sort of moved up from the black leather and she's going into latex territory.
Well, we soon learn why that is.
Yeah.
Because it is, in fact, a cooling suit. Because she's got heat fever. And I'm like wondering, well, okay, why heat fever? Because like it's not that hot here. Just like turn the controls down on Moya. But we soon learn that it's been induced.
She's suffering from heat delirium because I induced it with a bioengineered contagion. It's genetically encrypted, making me the only one that can save her from the living death.
Now, he does say you're burning up.
Yeah.
Let me see now. Because normally, what do we say? Sebaceans are endotherms or ectotherms? Ectotherms. So they're...
Basically, if it gets too hot, they go like, oh no, can't regulate their body temperature correctly, and then they go into the delirium, coma, living death state.
So if you consensually and with permission touch a Sebacean's skin, do they feel cooler than you? Because they...
Ooh, well, not necessarily, because you don't know what their default temperature is. I mean,
but
you can
ours is high compared, like room.
Actually, we're pretty low compared to most mammals.
Right, but compared to the rooms that we like to be in, like if the room is our body temperature, you and I being Northern European
stock,
we're quite uncomfortable.
Oh yes, it would be boiling.
So we like rooms that are like air that's cooler than us. But so a Sebacean who grew up in Northern European houses like we did, wouldn't they be like the ambient temperature?
Well, I mean, they're not like cold-blooded. The thing is, like, okay, so they have a critical. They have a critical temperature that their body can't deal with if their internal body temperature goes over that. But we don't know what that temperature is in regards to human body temperature. Could be the same, could be higher, could be lower. We don't know that. That's
a good point. It's about how much heat they're able to radiate and vent off.
Right. Yeah.
Which is exactly like me.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a fairly constant body temperature, but oh my gosh.
So maybe you're Sebastian, yes.
That'd be nice.
So, yes, at first I'm like wondering, like, oh, is this like maybe a result of the pregnancy or something?
Oh, wow, yeah.
I mean, like, we've established that, like, Sebastians are like hyper-fertile with pretty much everybody. They're just like the sluts from the uncharted territories, I guess.
They're like the humans of space, or the D&D humans of space, because, a half elf is a human, half orc is a half human.
Yeah.
Wow. Humans sure do love it, don't they? Well, yes, we kind of do. How are you reading Aeryn's emotions here? Because she's very stoic, she's sweaty, and then she's on the edge of tears and smiling and like, what were you reading?
She's clearly happy to see it, John.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. Other than that, she's definitely back on her I'm hiding shit thing.
Yes.
Which I kind of thought she'd be over at this point, but no, apparently she has now. Because like when she was like not talking about stuff with her mother, it's like we're back on that same level of.
Do you think it's the same?
It feels the same. I don't know if it is the same, but it feels the same. It's like there's a lot of like I can't talk about this. Like promise me.
But she says that she wants to.
Yes, but she can't.
She tells him.
Yeah.
I can't talk to you about that.
Why not?
I really want to tell you. But I can't. And we need to leave it at that.
Right.
And that's a lot more honest than she's done in the past.
No, that's very true, yeah.
Which, I mean, I appreciate that. That's something that I can relate to when someone says that to me much more. Like, I have this set of priorities that conflicts with my desires, and my desires are in line with the relationship that we have. Like, yeah, okay.
But I presumably made a promise, or there's some other reason that I cannot tell you about this, which I also cannot divulge you.
Yeah. It's like us in that one Halloween party that we don't mention. And that's why we make up all those other Halloween party stories to sort of distract from the Halloween party that we're not supposed to talk about. And then I'll edit out here. There we go.
So, yes, Scorpius turns out to have been the one who put her in the suit and help her. We get a little freaky little Scorpius licking.
You are so my girl.
And what is his thing with licking at people?
That's just what John's imagining. And
is it? Okay.
Because he remembers doing that when Harvey took him over.
Right, yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't realize that was... Because there's a few confusing scenes in this episode where we're suddenly in John's mind going back and forth.
Yeah, so we see what he's imagining that Scorpius might have done when he found her floating in a prowler.
Yes, that makes sense. So it's one thing that I kind of like, one kind of gag at the beginning of the episode, which I kind of forgot to mention, is like when they're clearly onto the fact that something is weird, because Pilot is being evasive and not talking about things, and they're hypothesizing that there's going to be something on board, that it might be a trap and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And
only one way to find out.
Walk straight into it. Okay. Weapons are primed.
Right. I'll take point. Everybody else stay put till I give the word.
Like standard operating procedure is like just like, oh, it might be a trap. No, we'll just walk straight into it and see what goes on.
Yeah. I love that the Dargo is so on board. Like, we just get guns and walk right into it, eyes open.
There we go. At least we're aware that it might be a trap. So
because that's what worked for them. They've consistently done that. So it's actually perfectly rational for them to assume, well...
No, I get that.
In this universe that we live in, that's how we survive. Everyone's got a cool gun. Hey, look at this. We've got Chi, Dargo, and John. John's got Winona. Chi's got... We're going to need a name for whatever it is.
I suppose we do, yeah. I mean, I guess she's not the kind of type who would, like, be sentimental towards a gun. She got her something that suits her, and that's just her little gun. But I don't think she'd be, like, troubled about losing it or anything like that, or giving it a name. That doesn't feel like Chi to me.
Okay, counter-argument. When somebody else has something, she wants that. Right? It's a sort of cat energy. So if John has Winona, then she wants... Right? She wouldn't want it for herself.
She just wants him not to have it.
But but the fact that he has a gun that he's given a name, well, now I have to have a gun that's given a name. Because, well, it's a cat thing. And Dargo has his Qualter blade. Well, I can't just have mine can't just be nothing, so...
Qualter blade, yeah. It's a cute little pistol.
It's like a noisy cricket, but bigger.
Quite a lot bigger, yeah.
A noisy cicada. The noisy cicada that goes, "Oh yeah." There's a cicada that goes, "Oh yeah."
Okay, we're going into massive weird territory here.
This is what it sounds like.
I was in South Africa at one point in the Kruger Park.
Oh, wow.
And we're sitting in our cabin and we hear this noise and it's like. And my mum goes like, that sounds just like our next door neighbor when he's pumping his bicycle tires in the morning.
Oh, I'm so glad you said bicycle tires.
So I wander out there and go have a look around. And one of the other people who's in that same camp just asked me starts talking to me and where are you at for a walk? So I'm just wondering what kind of animal is making that sound. And he goes fietsbomp, which is Afrikaans and as in Dutch for bicycle pump. So that's actually the name, the colloquial name that little. Apparently it was also a cricket, but it sounded just like a rusty bicycle pump, which was just whistling. Yeah. Anyway,
all right. So Chi and her bike pump, her fietsbomp.
Yes.
I love it.
So there's lots of standoffish things going on between Aeryn and John and Dargo and Scorpius mostly. So about what's going on. And I'm here finally Scorpius is getting to join the crew. He's because he wants asylum. Yeah.
Asylum. What is it? With peacekeepers. First they hunt us. Then they want to move in. What are we, a bed and breakfast? We have a sign outside that says free HBO.
Okay, space him.
Yes.
No.
Jeff Bennett, the new director, I think did an amazing job. This scene was so tense. You see, John's extreme effort making the promise that Aeryn needs from him before she collapses. And he promises he's not going to kill Scorpius, and you can see how hard it is for him.
Yes. And I'm wondering here, is he just being cautious, or is he still angry with Scorpius? Because in the past, I got the feeling that he was kind of over Scorpius.
Yeah, when they departed at the command carrier.
Yeah, but they were we're done. But the way he acts here makes it seem that, he was not as over it as he seemed to be.
That's
at
trauma
that point.
for you.
No, fair. I mean, I guess he could have considered himself to be over it, and now that he's confronted with Scorpius again, suddenly realizes that he isn't, or maybe he doesn't even realize it. It's just his gut instincts that make him act that way.
Yeah. And some of it may be misplaced, right? He's just gone through a horrible ordeal with Grazer, which he might be projecting onto Scorpius, despite the fact that Scorpius was also a victim of Grazer. But, I mean, he does ask, what's it going to take? Kryptonite, Silver Bullet, Buffy?
So how are you still alive? And they immediately start thinking that Sikozu.
Very good.
Sikozu!
Yeah. She's not sort of helping anyone. I mean, she's not doing anything wrong.
No.
But she's not making any effort to really integrate with the crew.
Or just explain herself, or she just... Okay, so... Scenes between John and Harvey.
Yeah.
What is this? Which movie is this referencing?
Damn it, Harvey, guns are dangerous, man, and ain't no smoking in my head.
Among the fans, this is known as Reservoir Dogs scenes.
Fair enough, yeah.
Which kind of fits with the outfits that they've got. I mean, the sunglasses are a little cooler.
I immediately thought Men in Black, but there's no alien. Well, I mean, everybody's aliens here, but Reservoir Dogs. I mean, I've only seen that movie once, years and years ago, so I can get down with that. Yeah.
I love that they both start smoking. Yeah, and John immediately oh no, not this, and not for you either.
No smoking in my mind. It's
and now, hey, this corridor that they're in, those are the corridors between stages in the Homebush Bay set.
That's pretty cool.
So this is actually our first real behind the scenes footage.
That is really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's it makes sense. It's to use that.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that this is I kind of wish that all of their conversations took place here, because it's this inner space, outside of reality, liminal space for Farscape as well.
Right. I mean, yes, that makes sense. It's
Right, there is the real reality, which is the fake sets, and then there's this bizarre other space, which is
real, but we're not supposed to see.
brilliant. And Harvey is counseling John to just kill Scorpius. You can't trust him. You have to get rid of him immediately.
Yeah.
And what would you have me do? Whack him straight away?
Without hesitation.
Harvey is clearly out for his own because he knows his existence is threatened by Scorpius, as we later in the episodes quite see.
Wow, yeah.
Because, I mean, he might want out of John's head, but he doesn't want to be gone. I mean, that's clearly been established. Like, initially he wanted to just, not be anymore, but now he clearly does want to continue being, and he's happy with, even, later on, even says, okay, I'll go back in the dumpster, even that's preferable to being extracted from John by Scorpius.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he knows himself.
Yeah. That was most of season 3. Right? For
Harvey,
totally. Sort of realizing his new place in the world.
But yes.
Rigel's having fun.
Rigel's just being a little dick as usual.
Scorpius. Your room's prepared and we've relocated your possessions. How many coolant rods do you need?
Rigel, cut it out. Aeryn needs those.
Perhaps we should save them all for Aeryn.
Smashing glow sticks on the ground. Glass glow sticks, by the way.
They're not. I mean, if you look at, it's Foley. It's done by. You can tell that the glow sticks, which are actually on the little pedestal, are just regular glow sticks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And then you can't quite see it in the first shot, but if you look in the second time he chucks one of those glow sticks on the ground, you can tell it's just a plastic glow stick which has been cut open.
Oh,
but they have
wow.
they have the little
glow stick juice.
They have the little glass sound which you'd make if it were made out of glass. It would be breaking. So that's just done by Foley.
What's that juice called again? It's like luciferin or something? Or is that what fireflies have?
You're thinking luminol.
Oh.
But that's kind of stuff that
I thought that was UV reactive.
Ooh, I think
Luminol's
this is
from CSI, right?
Right, yes, but I think that they combine the two liquids, and one of them is the luminescent stuff, and the other one, it starts producing the kind of energy that luminescent stuff needs to start glowing. It's something like that. So I'm not entirely sure on the details, but it's something like that. Once you crack the glow stick, there's a little phial in there which breaks, and then the two liquids start mixing.
Yeah, it's a two-component kind of thing.
One of them provides the energy for the other to start to do the glowing.
Magical stuff.
He gets admonished by John because Aeryn needs this now, because we've seen that Aeryn also has had one of the little screwy head thingies implanted.
Oh,
is that another John fan?
That's a John. No, I don't really have a portmanteau. Hold on, see, cerebral.
When he walks, I mean,
I'll get something. Sorry, hold on. No, nothing coming to mind. Imagination.
Right, we don't see that yet. He just says, okay, we know that Aeryn needs those, but we haven't seen her that scene yet. Because I was wondering, who's implanted that? Because the doctor who put that into Scorpius is dead.
By his hand. But no, because, yes, in that one scene, we very briefly see it coming out of her head. And that's John imagination, because there's a sort of a crossfade before and after. And the rest of the scenes, she has a glow stick taped to the side of her head.
Right, yeah.
So it's not in her brain like with Scorpius.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
He's a very preferable sort of fella, isn't he? I mean, he can have this huge cheese grater, or what do you call it, mincer, in his brain. He can be shot through the central cavity of the chest.
Yeah. I mean, it was
okay.
It was slightly higher, so it was being a lung shot or something.
Oh, I thought it was right down the middle. I thought it was popped out the sternum.
No, okay. I'd have to look it up. I would have thought I would have said it was it should be in the opening shot of this.
Yeah, but
here we go. No, it's slightly left of center, as far as I can tell.
Oh yeah, that's heart territory for us.
Yeah, no, for us it is, but we don't know about sebaceans. We don't know about scarens, so his heart might be anywhere.
I love this outfit on her. I think it looks so cool. Because it's got even the cowl has the same sort of silhouette that it does for Wayne Pygram.
Yes.
But the straps are thinner, the gaps are wider.
She doesn't have the little jock strap for the chin.
No, exactly.
It's cold in here. What kind of room is this?
Something to do with regulating Moya's temperature.
I was wondering what kind of room this was in, because she's got a medical light in front of her, and there's an examination table, but also this beautiful, weird sort of door with translucent paneling.
Well, we have new doors on Moya, which is interesting. Which is kind of like. Look, there's even a discussion about this cold room. It's like, where did it come from? Oh, Scorpius found it. Of course he did.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised that they are still finding new stuff on Moya, because they've been on Moya for quite a while now. There have been very long stints of them being on Moya with nothing to do. You'd have figured that they've been everywhere. I mean, that's what I do. It's like whenever I'm on a boat or something like that, especially like a cruise ship or one of those ferry ships. Oh, the first thing I do is I walk around everywhere that they'll allow me to come.
Yes.
So I'm kind of surprised that there would still be spots in Moya which they haven't found yet.
I guess maybe it's more. Maybe they have found it, but it's cold and boring. So on to the next one.
Right.
Like, there's probably less than 20% of Moya is actually interesting to be in.
Fair enough, but still, you'd want to look around. That's how, at least that's how I'd be.
How'd you find it?
Scorpius did.
Of course he did.
We see the little DRD, which John touches fondly. I'm not sure what's on with it. It looks like it's covered in rags or something.
Oh, it's 1812.
It is. It is. Oh, he brought it over from the other.
He brought it over from Elac.
Speaking of DRDs, we get the scene now between Sukozu and Pilot, where Sukozu starts like fondling the panels.
Pilot of Moya, these consoles need repairs. Where are the DRDs?
And like starts bossing him around for DRDs, and no, they're busy elsewhere. Like, well, and
and then he also goes, "Have we been introduced?"
Yeah.
I like that she calls him Pilot of Moya.
Yes.
I am Sukozu Shanu. Command function is our first priority. Send DRDs immediately.
Ignore her, Pilot. Hey. Well, that's a new record. You've been on the ship for less than an hour, and you're trying to run it. Nice.
Chiana, someone has to.
That someone is not you. Your cargo. Baggage.
I love how Chiana is here. It's like she's like a hard ass. She tells like Sukozu, like, no, you were not invited. You are not part of the crew. You are like, and you should stop acting like you own the place.
And I love this, because on the first moment that it happened, I was a little bit disappointed that, hey, they had some character development, relationship development in Lava's and Many Splendid Things, and that's been kind of like rolled back. And yes, it makes complete sense, because Chi is taking over for Zan here. Like, she's standing up for Pilot and Moya.
Yeah, she's been very protective of them. Yeah.
She's the mama bear now, which I absolutely adore. Yeah, there's this scene between John and Aeryn where she's not telling him, but she is saying that it's not because she doesn't want to. It's not because she doesn't trust him. She wants to be there, but she can't because of promises. Oh, I wonder what that means.
Yes, apparently she has been up to something. And yes.
As we find out when Moya is approached by a ship, but she can't starburst because there's too much mass nearby.
Which is weird, as we learn later, but yeah, because the mass isn't actually there. So apparently holoprojectors can project mass, and is it then real mass? Or, like, I mean, this opens interesting avenues of discussion.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a chameleon ship, which is how this ship is described, then it's not just enough to look big, which it does. It looks enormous.
Right.
You have to be able to fool other sensors as well.
Right.
So it would stand to... I mean, maybe it's like a targeted tractor beam specific to like the gravimetric sensors on another ship to trick it into thinking that there's too much mass. Some shit like that. Yeah. Because, like...
Oh, look at you playing all my part here.
Hey, I was suddenly very proud of myself.
How can one ship be too much mass, Reverse, get clear of it.
I'm trying, but it's moving with...
God, it's huge.
It looks huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
And it's all glowy, and like Moya is dwarfed by it. And we see Aeryn growing a little bit concerned by the demands made by the captain, Oolom.
Yes.
Over the intercom.
Oolom. No, wait.
Oolom.
No, I was more thinking World of the Worlds, but... Oh, well.
What?
Never mind. If you know, you know.
I guess I just get to languish in ignorance along with
it's
so
just
many
part,
of our fans.
It's just a part of the music. It's like...
The musical. War of the Worlds, the musical.
The music... No.
There is a War of the Worlds musical, isn't there?
I'm not sure if it's not really a musical. It's more like a performance of the entire soundtrack. It was like, you know, it was a horse bell, what's the word? A radio play.
Oh, wow. For a second I forgot Dutch, and I was just like, a horse bell. That's an interesting instrument. It's like a cowbell, but with more rhythm.
Horse bell translates as a hearing play.
Yes, that's the one.
So it's...
And we see Oolong on the big screen, and I love seeing the command lit with this sort of cerulean teal aquatic light, which becomes a huge theme.
I mean, the entire ship looks like very ghostly at first. I kind of figured it was just like, is that thing? Yeah.
Very, it looks ethereal, these god rays coming out.
Can you hear me? Outside signal, overriding comms.
I am Oolong, Chief Protector of the Prime Lucasian, addressing the Leviathan designated Moya and all her crew, including the assassin Aeryn Sun. I know she's suffering from heat delirium because I induced it with a bioengineered contagion. It's genetically encrypted, making me the only one that can save her from the living death.
Is he for real?
Oh, okay. So there's a bit of a plan. Dargo and John want Rigel to negotiate with the other ship so that they can fly over under a flag of truce, and then Dargo and then hit him over the head with the flag of truce.
Yeah.
Rigel says, well, I'll get the information that Oolong wants out of Aeryn if you give me 30 microts and a Tokar knife.
That's the Briss knife.
That's the Briss knife, yeah. Wow.
Yes. I mean, I'm not sure what he's thinking at that point, but yes.
I guess it's sort of sense memory. He's back to his old self.
Because Tokar wants... Oolong wants the names of Aeryn's assassin compatriots.
Fellow assassins, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, apparently in this arguably short period of time, like, that Aeryn's been away, she's, like, managed to fall into a... I mean, we don't know how long it's been, but...
I mean, it's a full beard length, at least.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Right?
Yeah, no, total good point. So, yeah, at least a month or two, probably. It makes sense. I mean, that sounds like enough time. Actually, speaking of Rigel, I love how we get a little shot of him floating in front of the view screen out front, so you could get a little... Yeah, they spent a little bit of the
CGI
budget on that. One of their CGI tokens.
It's such a good shot. I really enjoy it because, like, Crichton's sitting on a table and he jumps off because, yeah, this is all... None of them are precious about these the architecture or the furniture or whatever. It's just what happened to be there. They didn't grow up with, or they weren't like trained to appreciate the delicacy or whatever. This is a table, you sit on it.
So okay, so the one thing about this aliens that I've got Oolong and his crew is like they start off with this weird and that monologue. Basically, they appear and they're like it's like the burning bramble bush, and it's like he just like starts monologuing about who they are and what they want to do, and it sounds like a very weird way to introduce yourself.
Yeah,
almost like the writers went like, okay, we need to get it out of the way, but we can't make it. We're running out of time, so we have to compress this story arc a little bit and just like have this. Okay, why don't we just have him monologue and explain everything what's going on, and then we can get on with the interesting parts.
I think you're definitely right, but I also think that Richard Manning was being very clever here because this guy's whole strategy is
intimidation.
Deceptive intimidation specifically. Like he does not have a multitude of soldiers to back him up. So busting in with a speech, dominating their comms, like he overrides their comms to monologue at them.
Yeah.
That's kind of in line with the sort of spiel that he's doing.
Fair enough.
Which I kind of dig.
Yeah, I can get in with that.
The missile carries a pulse charge. On impact, the pulse charge will destroy the biologics, killing the Leviathan.
And it doesn't affect any of the life forms on board.
The passengers will be unaffected.
Good. Very good.
Meanwhile, on the command carrier, preparations are being made. They have got a anti-biological missile, but specifically anti-Leviathan, I suppose, because everybody else isn't going to get harmed. We get this hunky pilot dude.
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
Who is like very much, very, very Australian.
Yeah, he has sort of indigenous
looks,
features.
But I was talking about his accent.
Well, yes, defo.
Who is he's facing off with Braca.
Yes, who is sort of, he's now Captain Braca, and he's like mediating between these two experts. We've got this weapons scientist woman who insists that this missile should be flown. Yeah, well, I mean, she's pretty assertive for a tech.
I know.
Which I like.
That's what I thought as well. But the pilot's not having any of it. And she goes like, there's a discussion about if this missile can be fitted to a prowler or that they need a marauder.
And Marauder's not going to get close enough without being detected.
Well, that's the thing. The pilot says, like, we need a marauder because the missile's too big. And, prowler goes on. And Commander Boob Window actually is, like, watching Braca in his new role. And he's kind of getting a job evaluation here. And it's not coming
right.
But it's not going very well for him.
What sort of leadership was that?
Ma'am, this weapon is an unproven prototype. It needs study.
I don't want studies, Captain. I want Crichton.
She waits for him to make his decision, which is to mediate between, hey, let's not be too harsh.
Why don't you run another simulation and you crunch some more data and data, sorry.
I love you, man. and then your worries will be assuaged, and that'll be fine, right? Find the sort of middle ground, which Grazer very correctly points out. It's sort of leadership of that. That wasn't like you're not resolving the conflict. You're just displacing it. You're just delaying it.
Yeah.
And also, I want results.
Yes, very much that. There's a lot of that going on in Peacekeeper Command. I noticed they're very result-driven.
Well, as I'm in my career, sort of developing experience with leadership as a service and management, and like it does help to keep an eye on the ultimate goals and the results to be achieved, because
well, that's what it's all about in the end.
Yeah, and it's, the friends you make along the way are also very important. Yes. So it's tricky.
So we got a lovely new shot of Lola flying over to the big ship.
This is just a transport. This is a transport pod.
Yeah, you're right. It's not
Lola.
Got
all the ribbing, but
you are right. Yes.
It's a new shot, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. As is the Lucaythian ship. It sort of reminds me of the Narada from the Star Trek J.J. Abrams film.
Oh, I was thinking it reminds me a little bit of the Skeksis ship from the. It's also got the blue and the yellow lighting.
Oh, does it?
I think so. Yeah. But it looks quite different. Like there's
some
the
ribs interior,
here.
you mean?
The interior, yeah. Sorry, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Like the Halosians. Yeah, you have
Halosians. That's the ones. Yeah.
This sort of organic ribbing and this uplighting.
Yeah.
There are sort of aquatic patterns on the walls, which I'm not sure if they're painted on or projected on.
They don't
move.
They kind of fade. So I think they're projected.
Well, it could also be like.
Right.
More reflective paint and then our lamp fading up and down. So I'm not quite sure on that. I mean, it doesn't look like those aquatic patterns are being projected on Dargo and John's faces as they're walking around this weird set. I got sort of a high school dance vibes that the aula or the main hall is.
And Dargo and John are just wandering in there going like, oh, is this what the kids do these days?
Knock, knock, knock. Candygram.
I know, and it's been, decorated and lit. Oh, welcome to the Under the Sea dance.
Oh, yes. So, yes, Captain Ula is standing there, making more demands that he wants. Their leader has been assassinated, apparently, by Aeryn.
And her compatriots.
I almost went like Darren, but not Aeryn.
That'd be a cool name.
Well, it's, like mix between Dargo and Aeryn. Like, okay, it doesn't really work. But, yes.
I like it. Darren Sun.
Darren.
Right?
Fair enough. And yes,
he's holding a willy.
It's
a willy gun, isn't it?
I have it written down as a slug projector or something.
You're entirely right. It's the slug gun.
Yes.
That's what, because the creature shop was asked, hey, get us an injection mechanism that isn't like a syringe.
Right. It really gave me Existence vibes.
Yes, that's exactly right. The sort of jaw gun, right? Made out of meat bits.
Shooting teeth, yes, and the little biological game controllers, which you can just squibble and push and like toy with the nipples and whatever you want to call them.
Oh, what an incredible film. I remember this one bit because one of the conceits is that there's this game console which is actually sort of bioengineered matter, and it looks like sort of a skinny organ bag with an umbilical cord, and you have to have a special like port installed in your spine that it plugs into. And one of the guys goes, well, hey, it opens up into your body. Isn't that risky? Aren't you at risk of infection? And the woman, the game designer, Allegra Geller, I think her name is.
Yes.
She doesn't answer him verbally. She just opens her mouth real wide. Yeah, it's fine.
But there's also the scene where, like, after he gets that port fitted, that the guy kind of like lubricates his finger, and there's like first time, like they can be a little bit tight the first time, and it's like, oh god, like yes, there's so much.
Scans show no weapons on your pod nor your persons.
Just as we agreed.
Scans also show you aren't Sebastian.
So you get this real vibe of sort of body horror and organic, because that's what he's saying. He managed to dose the assassins with...
He didn't say he did it, but they managed to dose the assassins,
Quadrant.
with some sort of stuff, because apparently they knew they were Sebastians already. And they infected them with heat virus or whatever it is, which is what's causing Aeryn's heat fever.
Hey, do you think that he was the assassination target?
Ooh, I don't think so.
Because I was sort of getting that vibe toward the end. It's something that I'd never noticed before, and I also therefore haven't looked it up in my research. But like the fact that he's being projected by hologram, he's hanging in what sort of looks like almost a life support system.
Yeah.
And at the end, after he's been shot, he tells Crichton how you finished what she started.
Oh.
As if maybe he's the leader that he's avenging.
I mean, I can see your point, but I would have expected more of a reaction from Aeryn when she saw him. If that were true.
Yes, you're right, because she does remember him, and he's not the leader. No, you're very right. But so he's taunting them. Dargo tries to tongue him, but no, he was just a little hologram.
Yeah.
Cute hologram, and we wanted a face-to-face.
I don't care what you want.
And now he knows that they're willing to die for this cure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something's not right. It should be blue.
Aeryn isn't doing too well. She's like having a little lie down because the little glowy thing on her head is gone red.
Yeah, Scorpius is apparently on the speakerphone and tells them to put it back.
Yeah, and replace it with a blue one.
Which Chiana goes off to do, and meanwhile, Granny prepares some sleeping powder.
Some Fiang powder will deepen her sleep. Crichton won't mind.
Offers her powder, and the cocaine fairy gets her comeuppance, because Aeryn was apparently not sleeping as as deeply as she imagined to be, because she cottons onto this woman very quickly.
Yeah, they also have not been introduced.
No, but she just slaps her hand, and what's her face gets a face full of her own powder.
I hope this Fiang's still potent.
I'm amazed that her tolerance isn't higher.
Fair enough.
She rips her headgear off, marches to the command, sends Sikozu away, and interrupts John and Dargo's negotiations with Ulom by presenting an ultimatum. Hey, you let everyone go. There is nothing here for you. And she puts a gun to her head.
Yeah, she says, I'm going to die with this information. I will kill myself, much to the shock of John and Dargo, of course. If it wasn't for the fact that who steps in but Rigel. Yeah, he comes silently floating in and he thwacks her on the head.
Because as soon as she appears on the screen, both John and Dargo both come immediately, like, Aeryn's on the command, somebody get up there and help her. And she gets knocked down, but she gets up again.
Yeah. She has a whiskey drink and anyway.
And Dargo and John tell Ulom that they're going to get the information.
We will get the information for you and we will see how it goes.
All right. This is my favorite scene. Because Sikozu goes to see Scorpius.
Mm-hmm.
This person that she has a weird relationship with. Because, imagine this from Sikozu's point of view, right?
Yeah.
She's following the same path that Jewel did and kind of Chiana in engaging with the crew. But she meets Scorpius very early on, who saves her life.
Yes.
Right? In the graves as Skurnak. And she's fascinated by this person because he's intelligent and brutal in the way that she's intelligent and brutal, which she sort of tests. Like, she goes out to find him, and she speaks to him in a language that we don't know. And he replies, he said, "Oh, you speak pilot."
Yes.
What else do you speak?
Kresnoskanza?
Za. Prejo anesk. Vek placato brixa skelte.
Perhaps Scarron.
Yes.
And they have a little chat in what is...
Scarron, and it goes back to Sebastian or English or whatever it is.
Almost suggesting that the Scarron language, does it resist translation, or can you use a second language and have it not be picked up by translated microbes?
Well, we know that pilot language is not covered by translated microbes.
Right, yes, because cognitively...
It's too complicated.
One sentence can carry over 100 different facts, concepts, emotions, far too complex for our translated microbes to interpret.
Other languages, well, I mean, we know that she doesn't have translated microbes because her body doesn't, just so she actually has to learn the languages. Scorpius presumably does.
Yeah.
So either Scorpius is like inferring that, I mean, maybe you can still hear it, that it's like they're not speaking the language you think they are. Maybe it works differently if you do speak the language.
It's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what language would Scorpius be speaking regularly, because his mother tongue would be a Scarron language.
Yes.
Although it did bother me that he's, like, one of the examples is, like, the Scarron language. There isn't a Scarron language.
Yes.
Well, actually, maybe there is. Who?
I mean, they might have a lingua franca.
Yeah, there might be a...
Lingua scranca.
We're not doing great with portmanteaus today, are we?
No, we are totally not.
Okay, now we get a really weird scene.
Okay, so one more thing. Like,
yes.
There's something weird about the way this is shot, but in a scene where Sukosa and Scorpius are talking, I think that he looks a lot like John Delancey. He looks like Q from... I don't know why, but there's something about the angle or how he's acting that makes him look... He looks like Q.
You're quite right, because Q loves the side eye.
Right, of course, yes.
Turns his head off to the side.
Yeah. There's that, yeah.
And that's what Scorpius doing. I mean, it's a bit of a tricky set because he's in a cell,
and they have to like film through these bars of the cell,
jagged tooth bars that don't make for easy filming.
But maybe it's the tilt of his head. It's it really reminded me of Q there. That's
interesting. Really making use of the widescreen format here.
Yes.
Don't be so upset. Death is nothing to fear. I should know.
Aeryn's strapped down to the table with plastic restraints.
Took me very long to notice those, by the way, but yes.
Well, that's see-through for you. And in John's imagination, Harvey takes the shape of, like, Scarron.
Yes, and like with
the actual makeup.
First, I was like, "Oh wait, is she like? Where's she getting the eyes?" And then, but no, hang on, she's got suddenly got black lips as well,
and the chin jock strap,
and it's like, oh wait, it's just like in John's head again.
But it's Harvey's voice coming out of Claudia Black's mouth, dressed as a Scorpius Aeryn hybrid. It's amazing.
Yes, they must have really had a lot of fun doing that.
Why won't you allow her to die? Soon enough. You wish you had.
There's one bit that I found quite confusing, which is where Scarron, which is Harvey, says something, and then Aeryn almost sort of responds to it.
Why won't you just let her go? She's not yours. Point of fact, I never was. Never will be. But you'll never be lonely.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Even Aeryn on the bed is sort of a prop in Harvey's...
Yeah, we really don't... It's very difficult to keep track of whether or not it's just in John's head or what's going on. I think like pretty much everything that is there is like in John's head, everything that's said at least, because like Aeryn seems to be just out of it.
Oh, I like that.
Although she does end up talking right at the end.
Yes, that's true.
So...
You have no right to do that. It's my life.
And what of other people? Do depend on you.
Willem doesn't care about anyone else. He just wants me.
Not as much as I do.
I made a promise. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
Doesn't life mean anything to you?
That is an awesome interpretation.
So, more stuff on the board the command carrier, but the decision is made that Braca is going to fly the plane himself. Like, he shows leadership. He tells the pilot, like, yeah, well, you screw it.
You, sir. You're convinced this mission will fail. You're obviously the wrong person for the job. Dismissed.
Go.
No, it's a fair point. Like, if you don't think it can be done, means you think you can't do it, therefore I'm not going to let you fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Grazer seems to be a little
satisfied.
bit more... Yeah, she seems more impressed with him now.
Well done.
Good hunting, Captain.
More corridor shots.
Love them. And John walks in on Scorpius and Sikozu in the cell.
Yes.
Scheming. He draws Winona and says, oh, so you've been in cahoots this whole time. And Scorpius says, no.
She has just begun to help.
It just started.
Yes,
now.
I love that.
Which is such a great move. Oh, no, it hasn't been this whole time. She just started betraying you.
Yeah.
Because that is indeed what's happening. And he has an offer. I can get rid of the neural clone. And Crichton even goes,
What clone? John, Officer Sun is in danger. And so is Moya. I can help.
That was a good bluff on his side.
And Scorpius goes,
Yeah.
And this is like another really like existential moment for Harvey. We've seen him die once before, of course, just as we've seen John die once before.
There's like, I wonder where this shot is, because like it looks a bit like a hangar or something when there's like more confrontation between John and Harvey, and there's got like one of those fine chairs that was also used in Casino Royale by the looks of it. I was wondering if we were going to get a scene like that.
Oh, wow. I do wonder what this is, because you're right. It looks like I think soundstage, because I know this is Homebush Bay, but it's got these diagonal struts as if something's being held up. I guess that's for like a lighting rig.
I suppose so, yeah.
So maybe this is an as yet unused soundstage or
it could be something that they just had on nearby. But yeah, there's a little bit of negotiation between John and Harvey about getting him ripped out, and this is where Harvey says like,
I'll get back into the dumpster.
Anything but getting janked out by Scorpius.
Yeah, and I thought it was so weird that John agreed, like subjecting himself to this procedure that Scorpius says is going to help him.
I guess he kind of still trusts him, or no, not still trusts him, trusts him again, or is like willing to take his chances.
Do you think it's purely rational, or just that he really wants to be free from...
I presume the latter, yeah.
Right?
Because he's kind of like getting... I mean, it seems like he's in control of Harvey, but he's gotten a little bit annoyed a few times this episode at Harvey popping his head in and like actually mingling in. So he's like probably not convinced that he can maintain this control forever, and he knows that Harvey is plotting his Harveyisms.
Yeah,
it's still Harvey's still Scorpius, but
and his mind is a private place.
Yeah,
like imagine not having privacy in your own mind.
Yeah,
just never being able to be alone. Like I relate to this very strongly as an introvert who's learned to perform and appreciate extrovert behaviors. I love hanging out with people and going on holiday and whatever, and then afterward, I need to be alone in a room for an hour with nothing. Just nobody.
Yep.
That's what I need very badly. Like, I love my boyfriend. I love that we're working from home. We have wonderful lunches and dinners together. And then now and again, it's like, the time has come. Yep. I need to be alone in a room for an hour.
I can relate.
This is a private place. Harv, you don't belong here.
But, yes, he does get stabbed by some sort of thing which presumably sucks the clone out, because once he actually shoots Harvey in his mind space.
Yeah.
He gets him to sit down in the chair, and he goes like, make it quick.
Harvey goes with grace. I mean, he says, there's a quote that I think we've heard before. Without hesitation.
Without hesitation.
Without hesitation.
Without hesitation.
Without hesitation.
Without hesitation.
So we have another shot where...
So hold on. You're saying that Harvey's been extracted?
I I would think so.
That's what you're getting out of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, so
because otherwise
Scorpius now has Harvey in a syringe.
Right, that's what I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's I'll put points on that. I'll put 100 points on that.
I knew you were going to do it. I trusted you to do it, so I wasn't even going to 100 points on that. I don't know if you've got 100 points. Yeah, you probably do. You've been doing quite well. Oh, what a relief this must be for John. And this was Scorpius' strategy. Because now he tells him, yes, there is a missile on its way. We have 3 arms.
How do you know? Oh, I've still got someone on the command carrier. Like, who is it?
He must have known this for Arns already.
Oh, yes.
And just realized there's no point in telling anyone.
But also, how is he in communication with them?
How do you think?
He must have some built-in, like, radio communicator or something like that.
Right? Because later on he says...
I know, he gets instant updates on the situation, so he must have some sort of internal communicator, which nobody picks up on.
Nope. We just move on. This is one of those other things that Farscape just drops and never gets back to, just like the wormhole and Aeryn's assassin past, and they're just done with that. But then we see the Prowler pilot, the very hunky Australian gentleman, sort of prowling around the corner of the command carrier hangar bay. It's the same set as in last season. They reconstructed that.
Yes, he's listening in, so he might be the spy.
Oh, do you think so? Oh, that's amazing.
Or it just might be Braca.
Oh,
but I don't think it's Braca, because Braca hates Scorpius.
He sure does, doesn't he? Yeah,
maybe they were being performative. God damn it.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Yeah. Oh, that's obvious now you say it.
So, back with Aeryn to Oolong's ship.
He's called Oolong, but I like that you call him Oolong because this is a lovely kind of tea. There's milk Oolong, which I rather
Milky
enjoy.
Oolong, yes. It's lacto-fermented, so...
Yeah, not so great for me, but there's pills.
Yeah.
There's lactase pills, and then I can enjoy little treats that are not so great for
Yes, so my first thought when they carried the stretcher with Aeryn on board is like, okay, they're pulling something, and they've got Rigel hiding underneath the blanket. That was my first thought.
Okay, and then what does that get you?
I don't know. It's like... But that was my first thought. Also, why is she under a bloody blanket if she's overheating? But
we find that out. Well, she's got a body shield on.
No, of course, yes. But,
yeah.
They got body armor? That's a hell of an invention. How come we don't have that?
But even afterwards, like, she still keeps the blanket around her shoulders, at which point it shouldn't be necessarily. But yes, they convince her that, like, Aeryn is willing to talk, but that she is in such bad state that she needs the antidote first before she can talk.
Oolong sends his flunkies. One of them injects the slug gun, which doesn't immediately solve everything. So
hit her again. 1 dose is more than sufficient. She should soon recover enough to speak.
And now that we know that...
Yeah. Well, is it, though? It's like... He says it's enough for now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I got that as well. But then John and Dargo both seem to think, that's fine. That's good enough.
All right.
They kill the flunkies. They can't kill Oolong because he's still a hologram.
Still a hologram, yeah.
He's still faking it!
The command there gets sealed off, and they are in the... by the way, I love that little thing when before they go on this mission, they get Sukoso to come along because
we may need a nerd.
Says the nerd. Yeah.
Says the multiple people. No, he's still a sort of rocket jockey.
Nerd jock. Yeah.
And now Aeryn stands up, still clinging to that blanket around her, one of Moya's lovely skin flakes, and she addresses Oolong and challenges him to face her, which he claims to do. Still a hologram.
Yes.
Sneaky that way. And this is where she sort of confronts him. Well, yeah.
Your leader had more people slaughtered in one day than I could possibly kill in a lifetime. And if asked to do what I did, I would do it again and again. And I would do it for free.
Yes.
Which, when Aeryn says that, I believe her.
Fair, yeah.
I mean, murder's not great at all.
No, but we were clearly dealing with someone of Pol Pot-like properties here.
And I can imagine, like, our task force that deals with that specifically is appealing to Aeryn, who has in the words of Liam Neeson and his fantastic American performance, a particular set of skulls.
But yes, she gets shot in the back by the real Oolong.
Yeah!
Who is dangling from the rafters, I suppose. Fortunately, she's wearing the protective shield.
Tarkin body shield. It's the best part of the plan.
Well, it worked.
Yes, first in it.
And now that Ulam has given away his real position, it does not take a lot of effort to take him down.
One little sting from Winona, and, well...
He's not dead, but he's not well. And there's his control sphere, which is like a ball with nails in the inside.
Sikozu recognizes it immediately.
Yes, and John goes like, well, in that case, use it. And she's like, oh, hell no.
I think this is a control orb. A direct neural interface.
Kinda hate those.
He runs the entire ship with this.
No. You run the entire ship with that.
No, it's way too complicated. I can never... Yeah, hey, our standards are really low, so just do it, okay?
Yeah. Sort of anything is better than nothing.
Oh, my little heart broke when she sticks her hand in and she gets this neural interface. And we see this brief montage. They're shots of Talon.
Oh.
From when Aeryn accepted the hand of friendship. These wide-angle shots of those corridors.
Yes.
Because that's the last time that we show a neural interface.
Okay, but interesting. Why would those images be seen by her here?
I think it's just like a production convenience.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
They didn't build a lot of hallways and corridors for the Lucaythian ship.
But she immediately seems delighted as she's like now able to start controlling the ship.
Which is going to be their next plan. Because John has this idea.
Right.
Because there's missiles on its way. They're not going to be able to get back to Moya before it's launched. And once it's launched, it's locked on.
Yes.
And even Starburst can't help.
No, because apparently it can follow them through Starburst. That's just a matter of Starbursting away quick enough. But they're out of time for that. They can't do that.
Yeah, only if they could Starburst before it's launched. But they can't escape before it's launched.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So
Timing's
the plan
always
is
tight on Farscape,
so we know that it's biologically locked to once it locks onto
the
Moya.
Unique sort of pulse.
Yes. The biosignature, the fingerprint scanner that we use to unlock our laptops with.
Yeah, biometrics and...
once it gets that, then it's like the missile is locked in.
Once locked on, it can ride Moya's slipstream through Starburst.
So they devise a quick plan. The holographic nature of the ship is used to copy Moya, basically.
While Moya herself...
gets a shutdown, a biological shutdown. Yes.
Oof. This is such a sci-fi contrivance.
It is.
I'm amazed at how well it worked for me.
Oh, yeah, it seemed to be,
right?
I didn't question it much.
But, yeah, and it's all this sort of technobabble, and there's no real peril. It's sort of, they're inverting the polarity of the tachyon flow or whatever, and yet I sort of felt it.
No, it worked really well.
Good job, George Bennett.
There's a trouble in the command carrier because, Braca sees 2 Leviathans.
Yeah.
But then they shut Moya down and oh no, one of them's dead. So
one of them's clearly just a hologram because it doesn't have any active biologicals.
No, they say it's like one of them's dead.
One of the Leviathans is dead. It has no energy readings at all. It must be a decoy.
You sure?
Positive, sir. Transmitting proper coordinates now.
That's the tech woman's appraisal.
Yes.
I thought throughout this, Grazer's hovering about.
But she's letting them do their work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good senior leadership.
Yeah, she's just making sure that everybody says what they say, but she doesn't interfere, no.
Yeah, Braca's in command, and she's there to make Braca better.
Yes. So once they decide that, yes, indeed, the signature that is not the dead one is the real one.
All right, now it's irrevocably locked down, says Scorpius, so they can escape.
Right, so the only weird thing about this is I need the coordinates. But why do you need coordinates if you have a biolock? But I guess it's maybe from it tells the biolock sensors to implant on whatever is on those coordinates. So I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Especially if there's 2 of them, and then you definitely want to make sure that it locks onto the right one.
Yeah.
But yes, once it's irrevocably locked, they can now go on. There's a little bit of a kerfuffle in rebooting Moya.
Yeah.
But there has to be a moment of tension. It's not working. Oh, try harder. Push more buttons.
Give us a heartbeat.
It's not working. Moya may have been dormant too long.
You can't awaken her. You will!
Come on.
I told you could do it, pilot. You're the draddest.
You're very kind to say so.
This missile that's supposed to only affect Leviathan biologicals and not harm anyone on board absolutely kills the Lucaythian and destroys the remainder of that ship.
I mean, it was only a small ship. I mean, it might have harmed Moya, but like not be big enough to
you're right.
to do any serious damage to it.
Just the kinetic impact might have been enough.
Right, because this was apparently a very small ship that Ulam was on. It was just disguising as a huge ship.
Braca is a little bit surprised by this, as is the tech, and Braca like radios over to her like, "Hey, we are going to have words when we get back." And
right, the decoy is starbursting.
Grazer steps in and says, "No, that's okay.
I'll handle the post-mortem, Captain."
Yes. And orders the tech to report to the
Aurora
chamber. Yeah.
Take a seat. I'll be right with you. Which is horrible, but also an appropriate leadership strategy. Like, this is the kind of thing that she can take off of Braca's plate so he can continue to focus on performing the rest.
Also, what's the point of putting her in the Aurora chair? Because, like, there's nothing you can learn. I mean, she's not holding secrets in her head.
Right.
It's...
Like, unless you imagine... I mean, unless Grazer imagined that Scorpius has a spy aboard the ship who is, like, actively sabotaging and she wants to ferret out the spy, but we've had no such indication, have we?
Well, she hasn't. We've had.
But she is a commandant.
Yep.
You don't get to that position without appropriate paranoia.
Okay, final...
Have I distracted you enough from...
No.
Sort of, no? I know. Okay.
But it's just like there's so much up in the air that it makes no sense to speculate.
Okay, we know 4 people aboard the command carrier.
Yes.
Grazer, the tech woman, the pilot, Hunk, and Braca.
Yes.
And we know that there's a spy on, or Scorpius says that there's a spy on the command carrier.
Right. Or it might just be a random character we haven't seen.
You have points. Don't you want to speculate?
No.
It could be one of... It could be either lefty or righty on Grazer, right?
Okay.
It could...
What?
They could be spies.
It's not going to be Grazer.
They have an excellent view. Not Grazer, lefty and righty.
Well...
Right, they have...
No.
Okay, fine. You never let me have any fun.
Anyway, John is talking to Scorpius.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You made it through the day without being shoved out the airlock. Of course, this day is not quite over.
Well, like, Scorpius's arc throughout this has been earning sort of trust and goodwill and convincing them of his new sort of agenda.
Right. That he, just wants to be away from the peacekeepers, but then again, he still has his spies there. So, I can understand that there's not a lot of trust in that.
So it's interesting. He presented that his motivation and agenda hasn't changed. He still wants to ensure the defeat of the Scarran Empire.
This is true, and he literally tells John that, like, he hopes that after the Starrans start attacking him, that John will realize in time that something needs to be done, and that he will use his knowledge to help.
Because he's tried all the other ways. He tried, like, forcibly extracting it from John's mind, didn't work. He tried manipulating and cajoling John, cooperating, both with carrot and with stick. Also didn't work.
And now he's hoping that, like...
And now he doesn't even have a command carrier to use the knowledge.
So maybe, hopefully, John will come around to his point of view and, help his knowledge too.
Yeah, which sort of game theoretically...
Kind of makes sense.
Is the best outcome that you have now.
No, true.
Because he does need asylum.
Yep.
And... I mean, we know that Scorpius is also always unambiguous and completely clear in his motivations.
He never has any ulterior motives or anything.
Then again, it's the boy who cries wolf. He has been honest previously. Like, when he was using the carrot, he was really sincere about making that work.
Oh, yes.
Until
it stopped working, and then, we got the lovely scene with him standing on the waterfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you knew where Earth was. Is that true? Do you?
I do.
Anyone else?
No. No one. I purged all records. The knowledge exists in here. You can use it to get home. Or you can safely eradicate it by killing me. Again, the choice is yours.
So, Chi and Pilot have a little moment.
I love this.
Yes.
We haven't seen her smile this whole season.
Oh, this is true, yeah.
It is so good to see you and Moya again. You know, it kind of feels like coming home.
We're equally happy to see everyone, with the exception of the newest arrival.
Like, she's so happy to be with him. Like, she touches him, she presses her forehead against him and Moya, and she's so insistent that, you know, if Sikozu gives you lip, then you just space her, okay? Because nobody should talk to you like that.
Oh, but you all do that. Well, yeah, but we shouldn't. It's like...
Yeah. It's both confronting and also I think she appreciates that he has that perspective. And she even asks, like, you want us to leave? When he says that Moya and he have made a decision.
But no, they want the crew to pick a captain.
Just one voice to follow instead of all these conflicting
orders.
Great.
It makes sense. So the one thing that I am kind of curious about at this point is, like, why not ask Moya and Pilot who they would prefer as a captain?
Huh.
I mean, it's like you said that you want one voice to listen to. Do you have a preference? It's like, would you like it to be one of us? I mean, I guess it's a hard question to ask back, but, you know, like, especially if they express a preference and then everybody goes like, oh, no, it's not going to be Rigel.
Yeah, no.
It's not going to be Rigel. Yeah, it's like,
because then you're responsible for that. No, I wouldn't want to be responsible for that kind of choice. No, thank you.
But still, it's like something you might want to consider. It's like, do you have a preference, which is like something you would like? Yeah, maybe it's like, yes, like who would you like not like it to be? Well, that's also.
I think I get it. There are decisions that I very consciously want not to have a voice in. Like, I think that this decision needs to be made.
Yeah.
But I
not
think
by
that
me. Yeah.
Well, and also because my participation is going to make the choice worse, right? If Moya and Pilot, if they get a vote in this, then I guess it's their fault if they pick the wrong one.
Fair.
Versus it's much more of a group effort if their participation in the decision is to accept the outcome rather than to contribute to it.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I mean, that gels with what we know about Pilot and Moya.
Yeah,
they're always almost subservient to whomever is commanding them, even if the person who's doing that is a big bad pile of shit.
Yeah, they do enjoy being of service.
Yeah,
it gives them fulfillment.
We are most fulfilled when serving others. Your presence is gratifying and comforting.
And we get the final scene.
Okay, leather-clad backsides.
There we go.
How many of these scenes start, and it's Aeryn approaching John in the command. She's in a black tank top again. Yeah, represent. I am literally wearing a black tank top today. Not intended, but that's how it goes. And there's a lightness about her. She's smiling.
She seems to be very relaxed and, happy to see John. He is like, I mean, she's teasing him. She's leading him on. Because he's like, is there something you'd like to say? And like, oh, well, are you happy? It's like, oh, it's good to see you back again. And like, he keeps like digging information. And at first it's very lighthearted and playful. But towards the end of the conversation, he starts getting more and more insistent, or maybe not insistent, or anxious, I suppose.
She doesn't realize the sort of gap between them. Right? She still has this optimistic, almost innocent view of Crichton, which he sort of plays along with for a bit.
Right. Like fishing for her to say that she is happy to see him, or...
That's how it starts, yeah. Yes. That she wants to stay, and like she says, well, I've got to stay to take care of Scorpius, and like, I need to rest and recover, and like, yeah.
I need to help you keep an eye on Scorpius.
I'm not going to hurt him. I gave you my word.
Oh. So do you have any other vows of silence that I need to know about? She says, no.
Yes.
All right.
So you could tell me you were pregnant.
And then she's
like...
Okay, so do you think he was... Okay, so I'm a little bit torn about this one.
All right.
It's like, okay, there's several things. Like, did she know? Did she know when she left? Has she found out in the meantime?
Yeah.
But also, is he like? You could tell me that if you, what is it? Like, you tell me that you're pregnant, or if you're pregnant.
I think the phrase is.
So you could tell me you were pregnant.
Yeah, that makes it clear, doesn't it? No, but I just edited in.
Yeah, right, yes.
No, I think the phrase is...
So you could tell me you were pregnant.
I mean, he clearly knows, and like he's like, suddenly it turns out that he's been like offering her the opportunity to come out with it, and now he seems a little bit angry that he had to be the one to mention it.
And also, he waits around for her to say something, because she said, hey, I thought we were done with all these promises of silence.
Yeah.
And she won't say anything.
Right.
And then he leaves her because,
that's balls in your court. Yeah, you come out with this one. I mean, there could be dozens of reasons for, like, her not telling about it. I mean, she could have lost the child, and she didn't want, if she didn't think he knew, and then, she might not have wanted to tell her that. There's you can think of half a dozen reasons of why she hasn't told him yet. It might not be culturally appropriate for Sebastians to tell the prospective father at this point.
Very good point. Pregnancy might mean something very different to her as an alien.
Yeah. So there's you can think of plenty of reasons.
Yeah.
But it's clearly it's not. Yeah.
Screenshots of Claudia Black's face in this last shot were poured over by thousands of fans.
Yes.
They go, I see 83% contentment there, so maybe there's, no. God, can you imagine what they do these days with sentiment analysis to figure out, because what is she feeling there?
Yeah.
As Crichton walks away, she's not crying, she's not smiling, she's clearly thinking, but...
Yes, bugger, now I have to deal with this. That I'm seeing a lot of that in there, in her expression.
And that's that. This is the fourth... now that all these things have been wrapped up, like her assassination pass, the wormholes, the pregnancy, and what was it?
That's probably going to be another bottle episode next time round.
We're just done with all of it, and we're never going to come back up again.
And the Farscape.
Oh no, this sounds more Farscape. It's going to have rollicking adventure like in season 1. We'll have Wayne Pygram doing fun outfits.
Oh, I mean, that's always good fun to watch.
Yeah, I thought it was being cheeky, but then I really want that. And now I'm thinking, do we get any more of that? But I'll keep that in the privacy of my own mind.
All right.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
All right. My willy goes...
Aaron's haircut is off limits. You can't...
I wasn't going to say that.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I do have it as a I have Aeryn. I have as a potential willy written down Aeryn in the cold suit, because that was kind of creepy and ugh.
That's my Woody.
Oh,
yeah, I love that so much.
But my willy's going to the slug gun thingy, because that was just ew.
that is willy material right there.
I know, right?
Mine too. But yeah, I really love the sort of cooling suit, and I mean, not just the visual, but also the implication, right? She's with Scorpius now, because how else could Scorpius come on board without the protection of Aeryn?
Yes, totally. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
The ease with which they've previously killed people who've come on board, they even name dropped Durka, right? Cutting off your head to get rid of a recurring villain. Work for Dirk.
Yeah.
So what's your Woody going to be?
Okay, so, one of the candidates is hard-ass Chiana, because I loved Chiana in this episode.
Mama Bear Chiana, yeah.
Yeah, first at the beginning when she was dealing with Sukozu, and later at the end when she was talking to Pilot. I really loved Chiana in the episode.
Yeah, it feels like Zan's back, right?
But I think it's going to have to get to Cocaine Fairy getting bitch slapped by, getting a face full of her own medicine from Aeryn.
I'm never waking up. That's the last we see of her.
I know, right?
She's just got an overdose. She can dish it, but she can't take it.
Yeah. So your Woody is going to Aeryn in the cold suit.
I remember that image so clearly. Just like John as Scorpius, Jorpius, I think we call him.
Jorpius, yes.
Even not even Scarron. Just Aeryn in the cool suit, just the way that she was. She's even got this.
Scarron, that's a good one. Yeah.
Even got this. Thank you. She's even got this elongated back of the head, because they must have done her hair up in a bun.
Of course, yeah. So she has a very pronounced back skull shape. Yeah.
It is also just breathtaking.
Well, that was actually quite easy. Normally we take more times with the willies and the woodies.
Yeah, pretty easy willies this time around. I'm going to grab the old Creatures of Farscape book. I think that Oolong is in here, and I'm wondering if maybe we've got some fun behind the scenes. Oh, there's a little bit. Here you go.
Oh, yes, there is.
So there's a close-up of Oolong and Aeryn, like the two competing sort of costume and animatronic.
No, that's why I was going to flip the page and then show it to you, and you tell me if this page is off.
No, close it.
No, very good.
Yeah, it was difficult because Oolong came very close to being the favorite because it's such a wild shape, right? Eyes way out to the side like Kaaba.
Yes, he looks a bit like a... he's not quite into Illithid territory. Illithid? It's the hammerheads from Star Wars with their...
No, that's not what they're called. That's not what they're called. I know who you're talking about.
Oh, I thought... well...
I have known that. I have done a Star Wars Rebels podcast, and I've known that they actually go to the planet of those people. Yeah, the weird architecture looked like Amsterdam grachtenpanden. Yeah, have fun spelling that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got to be Aeryn.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
All right.
So, and that's the story.
Story so far.
Farscape.
Yeah. Did we do it right this time?
Please join us next week for another episode of Tales of the Uncharted Territories. And after the week after that, it'll be episode 406, Natural Election, in which Moya's encounter with a deadly space plant threatens to engulf her, while more secrets about Aeryn's pregnancy surface.
Oh, that's weird. No, they're still beating that dead horse. I think they just dealt with this plot line and they're done with it. You can find us at SoFarscape on Facebook and Twitter. We absolutely love to hear from you all. SoFarscape.com/links if you want to send us your synopses. Keep them coming. We absolutely adore them. Fanfic suggestions, or if you want to join in on our Patreon and help fund the madness that we're propelling through the universe. We love you, love you, love you. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
SoFarscape, so good.